Welcome to Endorian Guitar Works
Hello.
Backstage.
What up, what up?
I'm Brian. This is Matt.
We have a guest with us today,
This is Sabyu.
Sabyu.
Welcome,
sir.
Sabyu.
Appreciate it.
And
appreciate
welcome to Endorian Guitar Works Backstage.
That's right.
It's a guided look at the experiences,
Life,
experiences,
ways and means,
and ways and means of a guitarist's journey.
of the guitarist journey.
it. Nice.
Thanks for joining us today.
That's right. Yeah, we're doing things a little bit different today. If you paid attention to any of the Instagram advertising, we are still live on YouTube, because if you're watching us there, that's where you're seeing us. But we are also simulcasting on Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, you see us. I guess I'm right there. Hey, what's up?
Yeah.
But you should really be watching us on YouTube. So cool.
But we also have another camera
right here. We have camera,
Sabyu's
camera one, camera
also-
two, camera three.
Yeah, we're multiple camera angles today, so
That's right.
we're gonna try to stick with this one as much as we can. But we'll look around.
If we're not making eye contact with you, it's not because we don't love you.
Yeah, and if you want to be involved in the chat, it's probably better to be on the YouTube. We're going to be able to see that a lot easier and be able to talk to you in near real time. There's a slight delay,
It's true.
but the Instagrams, the phones are a little bit farther away, so my eyesight's not quite that good, even with my contacts. So sorry.
Wow, so this is a whole live chat and for YouTube right there. Too.
We
Yeah,
have- we have
we
a
got the
live
live chat
for
right in
YouTube
front of
right
us here
there.
on our
Yeah.
monitor. So yeah,
Dang,
any
okay.
of our viewers can check in with us at any
It's
point in
true.
time and ask questions,
Sweet.
join the conversation. So
Sweet.
And it wouldn't be possible if customer Mike hadn't come in here. Customer Mike, I promised him that I would not say his last name, so people wouldn't have him come in and fix their cable. No,
That's it. It will just be customer Mike.
Customer Mike.
From now until forever, you are customer Mike. Thank you, customer Mike.
Customer Mike.
And give a little bit more explanation again on that. Yeah, I know you put out a thank you
Oh yeah.
all over the socials for it, but just in case somebody didn't see that.
So, well, yeah, I've lived here for I don't know how long and didn't have to depend on my internet connection out here until the pandemic hit. And then certain cable company that I will not name out of respect just really never took any of the issues seriously and couldn't really do my job. It was made it very difficult to do the podcast. A customer came over here to have me work on his guitar and found out that he worked for said cable company. And he's like, I'm going to fix that. And he called the truck. Truck came out. I couldn't make this happen in 3 years. He had a truck out here the next day. All of a sudden, everything works.
That's beautiful, man.
It's fantastic.
So thank you, customer Mike.
So normally I would do a little recap on last week, but we have Sabyu right here next to us. So
Yeah, and as we do when we have a guest with us,
this
we're
is
just
only like the
gonna
fourth
kinda
time.
Dive right
Yeah,
in,
yeah.
right?
But I'm excited about this because I think we had Josh from Wave Crashing.
Yep.
We had Audiomatic Josh. We had Todd.
Todd.
We
Lucan.
had Jim Farley. And we had, I think you're the fourth.
You're the
Nice.
fourth.
In
Okay.
person.
I'm the fourth on
Fourth in person.
In-person
on
interview.
April 4th.
A fourth on the fourth.
4-4.
4-4.
Too bad it's not
4-4-4-4.
2-4-4-23.
Yeah.
We're almost there. We're almost there.
So I will give a
That's kismet right there.
real light introduction here, and we'll dive into like what you were saying, the really organic conversation. It's dope when we have people in the room because we really get to achieve that feeling of the show, which is what I've always said, that if we just ran into each other down at the bar and just kind of started talking, we have that organic, like, wow, let's have that conversation. So
Yeah.
even when we're sitting here talking right before the show, we try not to say too much, because when we've done that, it's like we lost the magic. But so I met Sabyu for the first time. It must have been very soon after the grand opening of Rhythms Coffee in downtown Olympia.
Shout out to Dave and Kim.
Shout out to
Shout
Dave
out
and
Dave
Kim.
and Kim.
Big shout out to Dave and Kim. I know they're not watching us tonight because I know they've got a touring artist in there right now. So, but on Monday nights they do an open mic night, and it's fantastic. So like, aside from just the fact that it's an open mic night, it's a coffee joint, and I love open mic nights at bars. But how cool is it that I can take my 14-year-old kid to an open mic night? downtown and go get a coffee and a crepe or whatever. You know?
Giant ass cookies.
Giant ass cookies.
Giant
Right.
cookies.
Yeah,
you know.
giant freaking cookies.
They're
Right.
ginger cookies.
But the first thing I noticed about you is that you got up with an acoustic guitar, as did many people. But you had this ability to absolutely engage the crowd. And I think it was Stand By Me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stand by me.
And you got people clapping. You got people, you invited other people to get up there and play. Like if you
Right.
said, if you have an instrument here
Right.
and you can play in this key, here's the chord changes.
Yeah. Right. Yep.
And you got the entire place jumping.
I figured that like at least in that moment, I was like, okay, I'm at an open mic with a room full of musicians
Mm-hmm.
that all have at least played tonight because I'm towards the end of anyway. So I was like, okay, well, this is a really simple song. Like I'm sure
Sure.
that anybody that knows any instrument could just hop on and start playing. So I figured, oh, you play piano, oh, you play like bass, you play drums, like let's just make a band.
I heard there
real
was a
quick.
saxophone there that night or something.
I think there was a sax.
Was there a sax?
There may have been. It was a while ago.
Lots
But,
of instruments.
Lots of instruments. Yeah, it was fun.
It was fun. I've meant to go down there more Monday nights than I'm able to go down there. I started teaching
I feel
lessons on Monday nights, and I did that before they started doing open mic nights. And then all of a
Gotcha.
sudden I found out about open mic nights. I'm like, well, crap, I can't ever
Yeah.
get there.
Yeah.
But
Iron Billy's on. Says I'm not sure, but it seems the volume is low. Got all the volumes
volume is
cranked.
low.
I think we just need to sit a little closer to the microphones,
Ah,
gentlemen.
okay.
I think Matt, you're probably good.
yeah,
I can just speak
Check,
up
check.
louder because I have a booming voice at times when I want to.
a booming voice. Let us know if that's better. If it's not better, we'll kick the gain up a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, so tell us about, this is the guided look at the guitarist's journey. So tell us about the origins of you playing guitar. When did you
Yeah.
decide you were going to be a guitar player?
So music has always just been an interest. I remember as a kid, I just was gravitated to sounds, and so naturally, I just kind of wanted to be part of that world. And so it wasn't until I was born and raised in the island of Saipan until I was about 10, which is when my family moved to Hawaii. So it wasn't until I hit Hawaii where I started to want to learn how to play an instrument, and I guess guitar kind of called out to my name. And so I did my first guitar lesson in Hawaii, which wasn't really a great experience.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I just did one lesson. I was like, I'm not really feeling this, and then I dropped it, and then later, my family moved to like the Olympia area, and this is where I decided I'd give it a second shot, and so I took guitar lessons down at Capital City Guitars.
Mm-hmm.
Shout outs Capital City Guitars, and my mentor was Scott Askew, and so I owe all of my foundation to guitar playing to Scott, and he really just I remember the first lesson was like, okay, well, I want you to name 10 songs that you want to learn, and so it's everything from like Bulls on Parade, Rage Against the Machine, Time, Pink Floyd, Sublime, or something like that. And it was just like this random list of songs that I wanted to learn. And so over the course of 4 or 5 years, we looked back at that list and I could play all the songs. So it was like,
Very cool.
I really owe it to him. And so guitar was like my first music instrument that I really like honed into, and since then I just picked up other instruments along the way. I think most guitarists can kind of navigate the bass.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, it's a whole nother rhythm ball game.
He can talk to you a little bit about that right now.
Right.
We can talk a little bit about it too.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
been through it.
Got
It's
you,
Just
yeah.
just because they have the same notes on the fretboard doesn't mean that you play it the same way.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then like the feel is totally different. So you have to be in the pocket and the groove and
Mm-hmm.
You really got to be
Technique.
one with the drummer.
right. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We're gonna boost the volumes a little bit here.
Thinking if this one's over here a little bit more between us, Matt.
Cool.
How about that?
Oh, I kicked the gain up a little bit. How's that, Mr. Bill? Iron Bill.
Iron
Mr.
Billy.
Bill?
Oh,
Mr.
I
Bill.
shouldn't have said that.
Oh no, Mr. Bill!
So, I'm curious. I don't know if the experience of taking lessons in Hawaii, it wasn't awesome, and then coming to Capital City. Would you say that had more to do with like island versus mainland culture, or was it where you were at your like? Were you not? Was it a you thing? Was it a teacher thing? Was it a maturity thing?
It felt like a teacher thing.
Okay.
And I feel like it was just the wrong teacher.
Yeah.
So
it can be really simple like that
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you need the right personality and the right.
Yeah.
You just need to click.
Right. Exactly.
And it's not like we need to dwell on that, but I think that's when I did teaching. I do less teaching now, but that's a really important thing because every teacher, every good teacher comes with effectively the same set of knowledge, but you're still a delivery device too. And if you're clashing puzzle pieces, it just doesn't hook up, and you can have all the information and all the desire to learn, but if you're oil and vinegar, man, it just doesn't work.
Yeah. Very true. Very true.
So I guess Mr. Bill says it's sounding great on Instagram.
Oh, weird.
Iron Billy over there.
Well, now it's going to be really loud on Instagram because we just jacked the game. So
maybe that's why it sounds so good.
I'll turn the So yeah,
We'll
everyone watching on
It's a little
Instagram
bit
and
different.
YouTube is going to have like a tutorial on how to run a soundboard.
Yeah,
because they can see it.
that's true.
So so you take 4 or 5 years of lessons. You go back and you look at everything that you want to accomplish, and you've sort of looked at this roadmap of where you've come. And do you have this moment where you're like, where it clicks, or?
I think that was probably that moment of like, holy shit, I just like learned all the songs I wanted to learn, and now I can like pick up songs by listening to them and figuring out what the chord progression is and just doing it on my own. So that was kind of like a whoa moment,
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's. I'm only pausing because I'm looking back. I'm trying to think back to like where was my aha moment, But they all look a little bit different for everybody. But I think when you have that, when you realize you've accomplished something and like you feel like you're a different person and you're a better person.
Yeah.
Like I'm way more impressed with I like getting up and I like looking forward to the day because there's this thing that I get to do now that I didn't have 4 years ago, and nothing changed except now I'm emoting through this 6-string device,
Right.
So that's cool.
Well, what's your experience with songwriting then?
Songwriting, yeah.
How did you get started writing your own tunes? What's your process?
Yeah. I remember the first song I ever wrote, which was a mess.
So, aren't they all?
And I think it was like the lyrics were just so like abstract, and then like it was like super distorted guitars and like a programmed drum thing, and
It's that angsty period.
yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly, the angst, and it was just funny, like thinking back on that song. But I think I remember buying like this $50 recording software at Best Buy with my friend in like high school, and that was like my first dive into like tracking, because I could then layer like different tracks, right, and like piece together this puzzle of music. And so I think that's when the songwriting kicked in, because I was like, okay, like I can play it back now, and I can like write to this, or rearrange things here, and so after writing that messy song, like my friend and I started writing, like we started making beats actually, and we started writing raps to them. And so in high school we ended up making like a 5-song EP just for fun, and we're like, oh wait, this is actually really fun. And so we ended up making like a whole album in high school, and I remember just trying to hustle it in our high school hallways, like, yo, buy a $5 CD, and like
So was that like Olympia High School, Capital? You were here?
That was yeah, I was here. So I was in Yelm actually.
Okay.
Yeah, Yelm High School. Yeah. Countryside.
JT Santos, who I'm now remembering, was with me the day we were at Rhythms. And
Okay.
So yes, JT, this is the guy from the coffee shop. Meet Sabyu.
What's up, JT?
Yeah, so I'm gonna hop back there real quick, and we're gonna get back where we were. But I was actually nervous to come up. Like you had just rocked this whole, like it was standing room only.
Yeah.
And we were in the infancy of this podcast.
Gotcha.
And I was like, you want to come be on our pod? No, I didn't not like that, but I was like,
be on our show.
and you were like so interested, and it was very cool. It was like you're just another genuine dude that
Totally, yeah.
I had another experience today that was kind of like that, right? Because the other news with the business is becoming an OEM equipment,
Right.
For it with Seymour Duncan pickups.
Congrats.
Do you know how I did that?
That's big news.
Do you know how I did that?
No. Just pick up the phone.
I asked.
Yeah. It's as simple as that, guys.
And sometimes the answer is no, right? But like, I asked, and they went and they looked at the guitars, and they wrote me an email and they said, "Welcome to the family."
Wow.
Literally in the email from Seymour Duncan says, "Welcome to the family. You're approved."
Dang.
But I had the exact same feeling when like I walked up, because I was still like very nervous about this. Like we have this, I wasn't even producing guitars yet. I was just a repair dude with the idea for a podcast.
Right.
And walking up to you, I was nervous, man. I was like, this guy is an accomplished musician, and I'm going to ask him if he wants to be on this little podcast. Just ask.
Just ask.
Yeah, just ask.
We've been fortunate to have several friends and acquaintances that have been very open and excited to come on the show. And we definitely appreciate you coming out tonight.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
To be on the show with us, to be our fourth in person, as we discussed earlier, interview. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. No, thanks for having me.
When you're writing music, we talk about your 5-song EP. I felt like a commercial break. Back into it. Do you find that you're like 50-50 as a writing the instrumentals and also the lyrics, or do you find that you're a more natural lyricist, songwriter? Or because I know personally, I've written I don't know how many guitar parts,
Right.
but I think I've actually completed 3 songs with lyrics.
Got you.
Like in 25 years of playing.
Got you.
Because I part of my brain doesn't work.
I feel that. Yeah. I definitely I feel like I could really sit down and just record guitar parts all day. But when it comes to writing words, it is more of a challenge.
Yeah.
So I feel you on that. And
Why
actually,
do you think that is? I mean, is it a vulnerability thing? Is it just you
Right.
can't come up with the words? Like what?
I think it's partly due to vulnerability. It's like when you write words, it's like you are showing a part of yourself that is then like almost tangible, because it's like you're writing like your words and your story in your words versus just notes.
Right.
It's almost like a diary entry, right? So it's like, but at the same time, I mean, like I've definitely found moments of like where it just flows and I'm just like writing lyrics for a whole song that just zaps me,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Did you go through a period of time at all where you just like wrote instrumentals, like would go out there and
Yes. I actually have an instrumental album.
play? Okay.
It's called Lava Flow, in honor of the elements. And so and yeah, that album's interesting because I did like the 4 elements: fire, water, earth, and wind, air. And then I did one song for each of the creation of those things, and then one song for each of the destruction of those things. Like the energy of destruction and creation for those, and the sun and the moon, and so that's all like an instrumental experience. There's no words in that whole album, but then the album after that I did it collaboratively with my homie Chief Hobby, who is also from the same island I'm from.
Okay.
And it's all like lyrics and like simple instrumentals where we're just bars and bars and bars. So yeah.
So is that the idea behind the elemental? instrumental piece, the album, is that culturally based?
That's a good question. I don't think it was necessarily culturally based, but it just kind of like was something that I guess my spirit wanted to express, you know, just like connection to the land and water and how we came to be is, and like how land is formed, and like why we're here, you know, like nature, you know. So
very cool.
But I mean, in a way it does tie in culturally, because like I guess as a Pacific Islander, in the Pacific Islander culture, a lot of it is you know, a lot of respect and an honor for the land and the ocean. A lot of reverence, especially for the ocean. I mean, it's just so vast and so like it's. Can you imagine just being in the middle of the Pacific, like on a little boat? You know, like it just humbles you. You know.
I mean, I'd like to. I never have gone to any of the Pacific Islands myself.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Someday.
Definitely.
But I mean, I could imagine that was probably a very spiritual and personal journey for you. Just even without going lyrically.
Totally.
Talking about the elements.
Yeah, definitely. I will say that album took forever to make, though. Because I was very meticulous, you know, just like wanted to make sure everything, like that's the perfectionist in me. That's just like, God, sometimes I just want to like,
well, you can work something to death.
Exactly,
though, as a perfectionist. Like
exactly.
That was one of the things that when we were in studio with Gunslinger doing our first record, that our producer kind of slammed into our heads. Like, perfection is the enemy of good.
Right.
At some point, you got to say, when is good enough?
Right.
Because otherwise,
it's never gonna come out.
You'll never have it finished. Right?
Yeah, you said that to me a million times. I was recording a couple different albums last year, and I was running demos, but like, here's some scratch tracks, and what do you think of this? What do you think of that? What do you think of this? I can do it better. Blah 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 blah. I remember one time you said to me, I mean, along with perfection is the enemy of good, but you said you could probably play that a little cleaner, but it probably won't have the same emotion behind it.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's the other
true.
thing. Yeah.
It's like sometimes it just doesn't need to be perfectly clean.
No.
The mistakes are like add character to the what you've just recorded actually sometimes.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, on that particular note, I think back to like Kurt Cobain in the Nirvana Unplugged. Right, he chose songs that were outside of his range on purpose.
Got you.
He couldn't quite hit those high notes.
Yeah.
During Lake of Fire, written by the Meat Puppets. And but he wanted to do that song, and the way he did it was far more emotional sounding because he was straining so hard to get to those high notes.
Yeah.
So it's almost like it's the attempt that gets you that much more emotion in the song.
Right. Speaking of which, actually, like, shout outs to you bringing up Nirvana, actually, because I think when I moved to Washington, well, I guess slightly before I moved to Washington, I'd heard about Nirvana, and I was in Hawaii, and mind you, like, I've only known island life at this point.
Right.
Like, I was born on a small island, moved to Hawaii, which is a bigger island, and then, like, what is Nirvana? Like, what is the Red Hot Chili Peppers? What is Foo Fighters? You know?
Yeah.
And when I came to Washington, realizing that this is where grunge started,
now
I was just like,
I don't know how old you are. So what year is this ish when you came to Washington?
It's probably like 2007.
Okay.
Yeah. Mid 2000s. Yeah. Somewhere around there.
So it was almost like a history lesson.
Yeah, well, it was almost like I was just like, I guess like a history lesson, and just like blown away with like the music that came from this area, and like how like it was a whole movement, you know, like Pearl Jam, Nirvana, like just Soundgarden, you know, like all these guys that made an impact on the world.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, now I'm living in the state that these guys are from, you know, like Aberdeen's close to here, you know. It's like crazy.
No, and I think that's one of the things about specific to Olympia. Now, anyone who knows me personally knows that I have a very love-hate relationship with this town. and it hasn't. And only in like the last couple of years have I been able to really focus, like realize it's up to me to change my mindset and absolutely take advantage of everything that I have. Like, I'm here. So you gonna be unhappy about it, or are you gonna? And I have my bad days and I have my good days, but by and large, anyway. But the amount of like historic, like musical historical, like potency here.
Yeah.
You know, like you can go out to Aberdeen and you can go see that house in the Kurt's house in Aberdeen, but you can also go right behind the Lottery building, kitty corner from the Eagles in downtown Olympia, and go see the duplex that he rented.
Right.
With my friend, like 20,
wild
30 years ago now, you know.
Yeah.
Wow.
In the house that he sat on the couch with the girls, and you smell like Teen Spirit, Kurt.
A mile, you know, a mile and a half up this road that our house is on, they played in Rignall Hall.
Oh, I've heard about that. Yeah.
In 1989 or 1988,
89, somewhere around there.
And it's like
evergreen
ballroom.
Yeah.
When I get into that place where it's like, why am I here? I need to be somewhere sunny. I need this great energy is killing me. And when I go down to when I go down to the Bay Area, when I go down to LA, when I go to Iowa and I see sunshine, I feel like joyous. And I have to like really intentionally remember that there is so much amazing musical shit that has happened within a 5-mile radius of here that it just makes your head spin, you know.
And I mean, there's so many major musicians that are from the Washington area, Western Washington. Steve Lynch, who we had on our show 2 weeks ago, is originally from the Seattle area.
Yeah, right.
Queensryche was a big Seattle band. Heart back in the 70s.
Hendrix.
Who else? Louie. Who did Louie? The Kingsmen.
They're from here?
They're from Seattle.
Wow.
So, you know, I mean, there's a lot of music from around here. The Melvins. They're from Aberdeen, Hoquiam area. Carp and Big Business are from Tumwater and Seattle, respectively.
Slater Kenny
is named after the road in Lacey.
Right.
That was the first rock show I ever saw.
They actually play in Portland now.
Wow.
Yeah. Slater Kenny at the Rock Candy
in Seattle.
In like 96.
So the thing that I missed was the Tropicana. There was a club downtown. I think it was around the corner from Hannah's, where Hannah's is now. Called the Tropicana. And, or no, it was North Shore back then. It was the North Shore Surf Club. Then it was Tropicana, and then it just... Nirvana, Melvins, like all those bands played at the North Shore back in the early 90s.
This is Hannah's is like the one on 5th?
Yeah, it's on 5th.
The end of 5th?
Columbia?
Yeah.
By the Capitol Lake?
Right across from that Heritage Bank.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's cool.
So, I mean, there's just so much has happened here. It's cool that it's still happening.
Definitely.
You know, and then we've got places like Rhythms Coffee and McCoy's and 4th Ave and the East Side Tavern and places like that to still keep playing and keep that alive.
Definitely.
So I have a question about your Elemental album.
Yeah.
Because like that's a kind of a theme that people have run with before. You know, you've got the planets.
Yeah.
And 4 seasons and
right.
Did you find that when you were writing this that there were like certain mindsets or moods that led themselves to any particular element? Like, I would say like if I were angry, I'd be writing about fire.
Yeah.
Is that like where were you when you're like when you said I'm writing something about Earth? Where are you here?
Yeah. I guess musically, like when I think back on those songs, like the fire one, I was like, it's called Magma. So I was thinking about what would like magma in a volcano sound like. So it has this groove. It's like doop, 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 and then just like just the bass, and just kind of rumbling,
it's dancing, it's bubbling,
and then like a guitar comes in, it's kind of like lighting up a little bit, and then it just kind of like builds up until it kind of like erupts, and And then like earth, for example, I was thinking of like, it's called source of roots, and I was thinking of like grounding kind of energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking of like the one drop in reggae, and how it's just like every third beat, it's just like hitting this one drop, and it's like everything's coming down on that one drop, and so it's just like a deep reggae groove, just like moving you along. So
Nice.
yeah, just kind of thinking of like what do these elements, what would they sound like what genres would I attribute it to, what style would I attribute it to? So, and then like the water one is just an acoustic guitar thing, and it's just acoustic guitar and an ukulele.
Like
it's very flowy, you know. So
well, speaking of acoustic guitar, you have your guitar here,
right?
I'm wondering if we can pause and ask you to play.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
Right on. We're gonna step off camera.
Yeah,
and
you
just
can move kind
sit
of
about here and put these wherever you're comfortable.
Sure. I wonder what I should play.
I dig that song that you played at Rhythms about people crossing the water.
Oh, City of the Rain.
Yeah, City of the Rain.
Ooh.
If you can't, you play what you want to play.
Let's see.
I'm just putting that feedback.
Okay, that's a good one. Let's see if we can mic this a little bit. Hopefully that picks up. Now why are we the chosen to sail across the ocean to the city of the rain, city of the rain, city of the rain? So this song is called City of the Rain. I wrote it with my bro Chief Javi. Shout outs to Chief Javi. And I'm gonna rap his verse too. So Coast Salish land acknowledgement. Did you know? Well, let's acknowledge it. Pay my respects to the people here before us, to Chief South from the water to the forest. And evergreen is the scenery, and maybe puff puff pass upon that greenery. But really, what does it mean to me when I can turn inward, my spirit feeding me? See, in the city of the rain, we play the game, we changing lanes, we take the reins, we fan the flame. All my people around the world, we are one and the same. See, well, I can see clearly now, but can you hear me now? Wait, hold that thought, I gotta say, I can see another downpour coming our way like. Now why are we the chosen to sail across the ocean to the city of the rain, city of the rain, city of the rain, city of the rain? We don't know no better. We can't predict the weather. Chief Javi in your presence, straight up island pride. Reppin' 206, one love do homage tribe. Across Pacific Ocean, landed in the sea. The swishers OE, stopped by China P. Now man, I must admit it, I'm so tequila with it. Cruising on the highway, survival of the realest. Cleanse the land, water in the plants. Break it down, roll it up, smoke it cause we can. The city of the rain, a place I call home. The freestyle chief, Cobain to the dome. When I'm spitting bars, it's Hendrix on guitars. I do it for the town, you hear the Puget sound. Bruce Lee told me be water, that's why my city wet. Seattle melting pot, I'm just trying to be the chef. Now trust that I'm Russ cause I ball on the track. Got the key to the arena, bring the supersonics back. Now why are we the chosen to to sail across the ocean to the city of the rain. City of the rain. City of the rain. City of the rain. Itano, 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 Utan. The city, the city, the city of the rain. Itano, 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 Utan. The city, the city, the city of the rain. Itano, 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 Utan. The city, the city, the city of the rain. Itano, 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 Utan. The city, the city, the city of the rain.
Yeah. Nice.
Nice.
Thank you.
Come back in here. That was awesome, dude.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. I had to like prepare myself mentally to do that one. I don't think I've played that since you saw me play that actually.
Oh, serious?
Yeah. So.
Well, congratulations for hitting a curveball out of the park. Yeah, no, it gave me as many goosebumps today as it did the first time I heard it. Well done, man.
And yes, bring the Sonics back.
Right. Exactly.
That's awesome.
Tell me about your guitar, man. It is gorgeous visually and auditorily. It is fantastic.
This is Taylor GS Mini Koa. This thing I've written many songs with.
Mm-hmm.
Funny though that this is actually the second version of this guitar.
Okay.
I had one just like this. It didn't have this beautiful stripe, but it was also the same exact make and model, Koa wood and everything. Long story short, I was going to this open mic in Yelm with my friend, and I was like rushing out the door because I was late, and so I had, grabbed my guitar and I like kind of packed my car up, and I leaned my guitar against the car, and I was like, okay, I gotta go, and so like I got in my car.
Oh, no.
Reversed. No. The guitar fell, and then I ran over my own guitar. And for any guitarist, it's like,
you need to write a country song.
Exactly.
Your next album is a country album.
Exactly. Yeah. It was a Heartbreak Hotel right there. So, and so I was like, I remember that gig specifically. I was like, oh shit, like. I called my friend up and I was like, you're never going to believe what happened. And I was like, I ran over my own guitar. He starts busted laughing. It's just like, I'm so sorry, man. It's just, it's sad, but it's so funny at the same time. And I was like,
rough.
So how was the gig?
So yeah, it's a good question. So I for a second, I was just, just dwelling in the sadness. And then I was like, it's either I dwell in the sadness all night, and God knows for how long, or I dust off my old guitar that I first started on, and the show must go on. So I followed through, and I brought my old guitar to this open mic and played with my friend, and I'm glad I did. So
there's a lot of wisdom there, but there's a lot of that takes so much mental discipline to be able to set that aside.
Yeah.
It's really hard to forgive yourself for something so stupid, and that could have happened to anybody. It's just, but when that moment happens, it's there, and in a split second, it goes from not having happened to being completely in the past. Yeah. There is no moment where it happens. Mm-hmm. It's like it didn't happen, and then now it's behind you. Right. Instantly.
Right.
And you can't go that way.
Exactly.
But this one's pretty good.
I will say, this guitar though, I remember I saw it at Dusty Strings in Seattle. Yeah. And I saw this beautiful stripe through it, and I was like, that's my next guitar, because it's the same one, and I was like, this one's calling my name. So, now I have this one, and I've written many songs with this one, and I love the tone of this guitar too.
Yeah,
it's gorgeous.
Super, yeah, it's got just the right balance of mids with the low and highs. It will absolutely cut through any mix, and it sounds great by itself too.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I love it.
So do you do most of your writing on acoustic? I know you play electric for a couple of reasons, but
Yeah,
but
yeah.
do you find yourself more of an acoustic guy or?
I'd say so.
Mhm.
Yeah. Although it's funny, like more recently, I would love to play more electric. It's just that being like almost like a solo artist, it's playing an electric and singing is just not the same as playing acoustic and singing. It's more like seems to be more warmth and body with an acoustic. So
Yeah, it is. I would imagine it's harder just because you almost need to have a backing band,
right.
even if you're a solo act, right? Playing guitar and singing, you still need to have that depth of sound that you get with a bass and the drum kit and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you can do it all on the acoustic, so
Exactly. Yeah. Which that said, I mean, I'd love to just be the guitarist in a band. Like if all the bandmates are like
looking?
right, you know, like
If anyone's looking.
Anybody looking?
yeah. Vibes got to be right though.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. You can't just put it together with anybody.
Right.
You can try.
Yeah, you can try. Exactly.
Dylan Anderson, Kitsugi, that old acoustic. Am I saying that right?
Kitsugi.
Kintsugi, that old acoustic. Not sure exactly what that means, but thank you for the feedback there, Dylan.
Sounds like a Japanese name, but
yeah,
it reminds me that the first
is Kintsugi regarding the driving over the old acoustic.
Maybe.
Possibly.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I'm not sure.
My first guitar was a Takamine, and I love Takamine guitars. Like, they're nice. If it's not a Taylor, I'll be rocking a Takamine.
He likes his specific brands. I like it.
Yeah.
I didn't see that it was a Taylor.
I'm sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off. Kintsugi is the Japanese gold repair, usually for ceramics. Yes, it's where you highlight the flaw and make it more beautiful.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
I apologize, Dylan. Thank you. That's a great.
Yo, I'm gonna look that up.
We've been educated.
Yes.
Nice.
I didn't know what that was called, so.
That's what's up.
And I forgot what I was going to say, but it wasn't that important.
I'm so sorry.
No, don't even worry about it. I was filling space.
I was like, I know what that is now. I know what that is.
Oh no, I was going to say that when we saw you at Rhythms, I didn't see that it was a Taylor.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And having done the repair business for a while, I've really enjoyed seeing the ratio of Martins to Taylors. That come out.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're either a Martin fan or you're a Taylor fan.
Right.
And they're both great, but there's really no crossover. It's like you're a Martin fan or you're a Taylor fan.
Seems really weird to me because I've got one of those old Fender starter acoustics, so that's all I need.
Well,
those are good, yeah.
But you play the electric more, so it says a lot.
That's true.
Today is a 1-year anniversary.
Yes.
Of something.
Of something, yes. So today is April 4th, 4/4. It actually marks a year ago today. I was on a TV show called American Song Contest.
Oh, yeah.
And so hosted by NBC, put on by NBC, hosted by Snoop Dogg and Kelly Clarkson. And today was the day that we filmed the episode that I was on. Nice. So shout outs to all of the other people on my episode that rocked the stage that night. And
can we find that? Can we Google this episode?
Yeah. You can. I think it's on like Facebook or something. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna do that.
Have you filmed any other TV episodes since then?
No.
So you've only done shows on April the 4th.
Yes.
Including this
one. Yeah.
I like it. That's cool.
This is an anniversary for me too.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
What did you do?
Well, 7 years ago is when I had my guts ripped out of me.
Whoa.
That doesn't sound like fun.
No. I'd much rather be
talking about playing guitars and having a good time.
Playing guitar for Snoop and Kelly Clarkson. That's fantastic.
Dylan says a D18 or a 414. I'd take either.
The best Martin, I can't even believe that I'm going to say this, but it's 100% true. The best Martin that I have played came to me as a repair from a gentleman in Yelm, but it's their it was an employee model. It was, I don't really know the history behind it other than what was on the label, like inside the guitar. But in the 90s, they produced like an EMP line. It was an employee design. So they had all the Martin guitars, but they allowed all their like employees and luthiers and everyone to basically conceptualize what they thought the best elements of all the Martins were, and to create their own limited run employee model.
Interesting.
Wow.
And this guitar has absolutely been played. And I mean, it looked beat up. And, you know, guitars can look beat up. Lots of the good ones do. But it's rare that I feel like you pick up a guitar that's been beat to shit and it actually still plays the way it should. Usually it's a neglected guitar. It's a guitar that's been kicked around, left in the corner, blah, 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 blah. It's rarely a guitar that looks like it's got road rash because it's been road played forever.
Right. It's not. It's like you see a book.
Yeah.
Where the spine is totally bent out of shape, and it's all, you can barely read the title. You know it's been read multiple times.
Yeah. Did it get used as a coffee table shim, or has it been read 1,000 times?
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I took this guitar down to the shop. I don't remember what I can't even remember what we did to the what it needed. But then I played it for hours afterwards. Yeah. I called the guy. I said, "Hey, it's ready, but I'm probably gonna have to change the strings again by the time you pick it up because I just couldn't put it down."
Nice.
It was just, like, the magic kept coming out, and I'm a Taylor guy. I'm a Taylor guy, and I just couldn't put down this Martin.
Do you know when Martin started and when Taylor started? What year roughly that was?
No,
because I know Taylor's a lot newer, right? So
I have.
You stumped us. I should know, but I don't.
This is the part of the show where I don't know the answer.
All good, all good.
You wanted the lightning round.
This is the lightning round. Nope. Struck. I'm on fire.
If,
I have no idea about the history.
If somebody comes back to us with the dates that Martin and Taylor were founded, we will send you a hat. If you want a hat.
Yeah.
Wow.
There you go.
If not, we'll send you our thanks and thoughts and prayers.
Got some gunslinger stickers?
Got some gunslinger stickers. Well, cool.
Yeah. Well,
what did you play? What did you play on American Songwriter?
Oh, so I played an original song called Sunsets and Sea Turtles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that
we might have you play that
maybe
again
something
in 10 minutes.
that
okay.
you are willing to play for us tonight?
I mean, I could. Yeah, I mean, it's the anniversary, right? I feel like I have to now.
Yeah. It might have to happen.
Yeah.
So what are you doing right now musically in Olympia? What are your immediate projects?
Yeah. So my current what I currently do work-wise is tied into my music because I'm a artist mentor with a nonprofit based in Seattle called Totem Star. Shout outs to Totem Star. And Totem Star is essentially, I guess in a nutshell, you could call it a youth record label. We work with youth anywhere between 14 to 25, and we help with like songwriting, guitar lessons, instrument recording, mixing, taking a song from start to finish, performance, and you know it's music, but it's also just like life mentorship. And so we've like I've known some artists for like from when they were in high school, and then I've been with them in college now. So it's kind of crazy to see like the growth of these artists, and so I do a lot of my work remotely since COVID hit. So that's been like my main music creation is with them.
Dylan has an
yes,
answer.
Martin's older, 1833.
Taylor, 1974.
1833?
So it's 104 years difference between the two. That's
all right, Dylan. So send us an Instagram DM or a DM on YouTube and let us know where to send you some swag at, and thank you for the info because wow,
that's a big difference.
And coming through the Kintsugi reference,
that's
getting
cool. Educated.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
This nonprofit sounds fantastic. That's like right up our alley too. Like,
yeah,
I mean, we don't specifically mentor to youth, but like it's all about taking steps forward and
Definitely.
It's building a community,
Yeah.
and that's kind of what this whole podcast was about, right? We're building a community. We're taking the community that's already there and making it even more
Yeah.
public, making it more well known.
Absolutely.
We hope, right? We're gonna have enough viewers, boost viewership. The more viewers we get, hint, hint. But the community of music. I mean, it's really important. So you're a part of mentoring. What was some of the best information, or I guess what's the word I'm looking for? The best like words of wisdom that you've gotten musically?
Yeah. One of them that comes to mind is my guitar teacher, Scott, from Capital City Guitars, who kind of quoted Miles Davis, where Miles Davis said, sometimes it's not the notes that you play, it's the notes that you don't play. And so as an artist, especially a young artist, it's like you're trying to, be the most flashy, kind of like showing off your skills, or, like playing a bunch of notes, or like trying to rap a bunch of bars or whatever it is. But sometimes it's like, it's the silence that you put in the music that really speaks louder than the music that you're playing. So like the time, the space between notes is just as important as the notes that you're playing. And I was like, damn, it's pretty
spot on.
Yeah.
It's like when you're in the room with someone, everyone knows the presence of the person who isn't saying anything. There's a lot of power in that. And being able to get the rest to speak as loudly as the notes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool.
Yeah. So are those words of wisdom that you pass on as well, or is there something else that you also pass on that's kind of like something you give to every student or every mentee that you have?
Yeah, I've noticed that for me, when I work with artists, and I start to get to know their personality and like, the likes and dislikes, like, of course, certain things resonate to one artist that doesn't to another, and vice versa. And so I think some of those words of wisdom kind of get passed on without me realizing it. It's like I'm just saying something that I feel like would resonate with this artist, and then they're like, oh, like I didn't look at it that way, It's just something that I would do normally, or something like that, or an experience I had where I'm just sharing that my experience of being on the show, or like, playing a bunch of open mics, like what kind of takeaways I can give to that artist. Yeah. So I guess it's conditional of like who I'm working with.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What exactly was it like filming that show?
Oh,
with
yeah.
Snoop and Kelly.
That was a whole trip.
So, I mean, we're in first name basis with all of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We are now.
You've been on the show. You know them.
Right. Yeah.
Your 6
First name
degrees of
basis.
separation
Right.
just got a lot closer.
Yep, that's right. Now that's another thing I can add to my wife's list of things that she can't stand. So yeah, what was that like for you?
Yeah, the show was a trip, like I honestly, for the longest time leading up to to me actually being on the show, I was on the fence of even doing it. I was like, is this really where I'm supposed to be going in my journey? And like, I had a lot of imposter syndrome. Like, I'm not the man for the job. Like, you should have picked somebody else, because and so at a certain point, I was like, I've already like committed to it. So it's like it's either option one, I don't do it, and like I leave, and then like they're like, oh, what happened to the representative for the Northern Mariana Islands? Or I do it and just take it forward as an experience that I have in life. So I did that, and I'm really glad I did, despite all of the hesitation and all the fear of that. And so once I was there in LA, like well, actually rewind, because they flew me out to Saipan, which is where they filmed like this home follow video.
Right. Okay.
And so it's like showing where I'm from and like my family and everything. And I had to.
Right. Like you come up on stage and there's like, and it goes
Right.
off and they do the background.
Exactly.
Okay.
Background
Tell
story.
everybody's story.
Yeah. And so that experience alone was really monumental for me because I got to reconnect with my family and like spend time with my dad and back home and like just be back home in the island that I'm from, that I'm representing. And so reconnecting and then going to LA after that to film the episode of the show, it was a blast. You know, I got to meet so many people from across the country and everybody's like been doing music for a long time. That's why they're there. I got to meet like Alan Stone, who represented Washington, which is awesome. And everybody was super down to earth. Like all the other musicians were down to earth. We had jam sessions. I got really close with the band from South Dakota.
Nice.
Shout out to Judd Who's.
Very cool.
We had like hotel room jams and stuff.
Well, is it Iron Billy that's North Dakota?
Oh, really?
Fargo, North Dakota.
Fargo.
Yeah, I got.
No way.
I said South Dakota.
You
2
did.
weeks ago.
Yeah, he
and I was
corrected
like,
it.
I know. I know.
I have some ties in North Dakota, actually. Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah, shout outs to Fargo and Devil's Lake, North Dakota.
Oh, yeah.
So, but yeah, so aside from like the hotel experience, and it felt like I was a low key celebrity for this time because they're, you know, taking us to and from Universal Studios, and like that's where we were filming stuff, and you know, the day of the show, it's just like there's so much anticipation, you know, like everything's been leading up to this day, which is like, you know, a year ago today. And the crazy part is like I was not nervous at all. Like we did everything. Like wardrobe was fun, and like, you know, hair and makeup, whatever else, and then like we did dress rehearsal. It's fun, you know, very low key, chilled out. And it wasn't until like the room filled out, family was in the booth with me now, and then they're like, okay, we're going live, and you know, 10, 9, and then the like episode starts. All my nerves hit.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
You're like,
yeah, like this is actually
alive,
happening.
dead.
Yeah, this is really happening. And then I remember too that like I did not see the home follow video. I didn't see my own backstory until I was about to perform.
Oh wow.
And so they're
now
like,
you're emotional.
I'm emotional. Yeah, I was like, I'm behind. Like they call me to go backstage, and they're like, okay, get your guitar on. Here's your headset, and like, and then they show the video to everybody. Oh yeah,
they have to do that on purpose.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And so I just
They're
remember
gonna break
watching
you.
that.
Yeah.
Now you're playing for all the marbles.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to make everybody back home proud.
Right. So it was just like that hit me right before I had to go on stage, and it was just like, okay, Sabyu, hitting the stage in 5, 4, and the lights go down, 3, and then make your way to the stage.
Wow.
Here we go, and then played the song.
Crap, man.
It's crazy. That whole performance is a blur.
Everyone's got that. That's you know, I haven't had that experience, you know, that specific experience, but it's interesting to hear where people have that nerves moment, you know. For me, I'm fine right up until like the day I get up for whatever I'm committed to, and then I'm a wreck until I set foot on the stage. And that's the moment where there's a bit of numbness, there's a bit of noise, there's a bit of knowing that like you're here. That's like the moment where the imposter syndrome goes away, but only very briefly.
Got you.
Because you're up there to do a job.
Right.
And then as soon as I step off stage, then it's like, that's horrible. I did horrible.
Damn.
But then like I go back and review. That's one of the nice things about doing this podcast is like, that's why I rewatch every single one. Because I go back and it's like, and I'm talking about more than just this podcast, but with this podcast, I have an opportunity to go back, and those things that stick out in my head as like, oh, we really screwed that up.
You get to see.
No,
it
it was
like, no,
fine.
it's not.
It was like
Right.
that thing that felt like it was 300 seconds long was about a breath.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where my urge and my panic is, you know.
Yeah,
Got you.
See, I must be a weirdo because, I mean, I have that same kind of feeling. Like, I get nervous right before. Once I step on, I start the first song, and then everything kind of goes away. I feed off the energy of the crowd. And if we get the crowd going, nothing else matters until I screw something up.
Got you.
Right?
Yeah.
And then I know it for the rest
Right.
of the set. I'm, like, thinking about that.
Yep.
So the one time in particular that really got me, and it kind of, I was able to really learn from it and kick out of it. We were playing a set, and my friend Tony, who was on one of our guests previously, from Moss Generator, they were playing that night as well, and so he was standing right in front of the stage while we're playing one of our cover songs, and my G string broke. It was always the G string. The saddle was fucked up, so
I
Got
hadn't
you.
even picked up your guitar yet. And your
it would
G-string
cut
broke.
my
Yeah.
G string. My G string was always the worst part.
Damn.
Yeah, laugh if you want. But I got pissed. Like, I was like, fuck. So I take my guitar off. I put it down on my stand. I finish the verse. I finish the chorus singing without the guitar. And then I go and restring my guitar, finish the song, and then tune it.
Wow.
And I come off the stage, and all I'm thinking about for the rest of the set was that.
Got you.
And I come off the stage, and I go right to Tony, and I was like, hey, man, thanks for coming out, and having us play with you guys, whatever. He's like, dude, that was killer. Like, yeah, how did you know that was one of my favorite songs? And I was like, oh, great. I broke a string and totally fucked up that entire song that was this idol of mine and friend of mine's favorite Rainbow song. And he's like, I didn't notice. I'm like, if he doesn't notice, ain't nobody gonna notice. So I must have covered well. So I'm like, all right. That was like, I've been a musician since I was 10 years old. Played trombone in high school.
Oh, nice.
Elementary, middle school, high school. So, I mean, I've always known if you mess up, just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
People remember the beginning and the end.
Right.
They don't remember the screw ups in the middle.
Right. Especially if they're drinking.
Yeah, but like it was there in my head, so god damn it, everybody noticed it.
I feel it.
Until
Yeah.
I talked to Tony.
Yeah.
And he didn't notice it. And if he didn't notice it, ain't nobody gonna notice anything. So it was really kind of a cool moment.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a cool story. I was gonna ask too, because like I'm curious about your guys' music backgrounds as well. Like you said you started when you were 10 and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like you must have been in a lot of. I guess both of you must have been in a lot of bands and played a bunch of gigs.
Not as many people, but
Just a few.
Yeah.
Just a few.
So I started out the way I was introduced to music. I had a musical family. Mom was in the church choir. All of Mom's family were musicians.
Okay.
So there was pretty much that early on expectation that there's piano lessons and there's school band and this and that and this and that and this and that. And like every 6-year-old boy ever, I wanted to play guitar. For me, it was the first time I heard Michael Jackson's "Beat It" with the Van Halen solo.
Yes.
That was it.
Nice.
But the
It's a
guitar
killer
wouldn't enter my
solo.
life until I was about 14 years old. But I played piano, and then I played clarinet and bass clarinet, and tried to play the trumpet, and then the contralto clarinet, and then I finally got a guitar. And then it was like, I need to figure out a way to get these other instruments out of my life so I can just focus on the guitar. And played guitar through high school jazz band. I didn't really start up any rock bands until I went to a 4-year college in Washington State. And did the schooling, but really spent the entire time trying to make music.
Gotcha.
There were no real expectations that we were going to become rock stars, but it was like, this is my priority, making music with whoever wants to make music. and then I continued to play in bands until my first child was born, and then I kind of took a little bit of time away from that, and then started back up playing with you, and I
nice.
did some musical theater things, some of that with you, and then spent the entire pandemic just like, so the part where the music goes from do 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 to oh was like right before the pandemic. Right before the pandemic, I had this. I don't remember what the catalyst was, but I remembered looking around at all the guitars that were hanging on the walls, and I realized that I didn't feel like a guitar player anymore. I felt like a collector because I really wasn't spending any time with the instrument anymore.
Oh,
I felt like I'd betrayed myself, you know. And so I sort of got a runway into the pandemic. I was like, I'm gonna really get back into playing. And then when we were all sitting here at home, that's when I pretty much committed. If I wasn't working or spending time with my children, I was playing guitar, and then ramped it back up and then turned it into this business.
Gotcha.
So that's
Wow.
my 95-second synopsis of what I do.
Right.
My musical existence.
I feel
I don't
that.
really exist outside of music. It's just, it would be really boring without it.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, and I kind of feel the same way. My existence revolves around music and socialization, probably more than anything. I started playing trombone, and played trombone through 11th grade in high school. So I started in 5th grade and went through 11th.
You must be really good then.
Well, I was okay. I was second chair in the jazz band, and the reason why was because I could solo.
Oh.
I was just off the dome to be able to
Nice.
draw it.
Yeah.
Which kind of pissed me off because I wanted that first chair, right? You gotta
Gotcha.
I want to be number one. But so I ended up quitting band and never picked up the trombone again my senior year in high school because I did running start at South Puget Sound Community College.
Okay. Yeah, I went there too.
Great school. My kid's finishing up there now too. And then I went to Central Washington University, which is where Matt and I actually met.
Okay.
I was a music business major.
Wow.
And tried to get into the guitar studio, which Matt was a part of the guitar studio. But because I had never taken lessons previously and could not afford to take lessons at the time, I couldn't get in. I wasn't good enough to test in. I had to take lessons first. So I switched over to vocals. So I was a vocal major in the music department.
Wow.
Music business was my actual major, but my instrument was my voice.
Nice.
But I kept kind of playing, but I was never really like practice an hour a day or anything like that. I'd just be like randomly, I'm gonna play some punk rock.
Power chords.
I was a punk rock kid. I grew up listening to a lot of punk rock and heavy metal, which I still do.
Oh yeah.
At one point in our college career, I did try out for the band that he was in with some other friends from the area.
Yeah.
And his drummer didn't like me, so we didn't.
Oh, really?
That didn't work out. But
drummers.
yeah, right. But that's okay. He's a good guy. And I ended up, just kind of putzing around for a while until an ex-girlfriend of mine met a guy who lived in my neighborhood through a softball thing, and he was like, "Hey, I've got this demo that I wrote, and I wrote all these 5 songs, and I'm trying to put together a metal band." I'm like,
wow.
And then that's when Gunslinger was born between him and
I didn't know that's how you met Jim.
That's how I met Jim. Even though he lived like 4 blocks away from me, I met him through my ex who was trying to get the softball team together.
Wow.
And so he and I have been like, we're kind of kindred spirits in that
Nice.
heavy metal style.
Nice.
My brother played with us for a while, and then we had another bass player, and then we had my brother again, and then Matt came in and joined us.
Oh, okay.
We went through a couple drummers before finding Simon, who is our main guy. And now
Drummers. No, we love you, Simon. We do.
And now we are working on expanding the group. We added Matt back in as guitar instead of, he was originally our last bass player.
Oh, okay.
2 guitars, bass. We're still 2 guitars and bass, but he's not playing guitar. I'm now playing bass because the bassist that we have recruited, who was in another heavy metal band from Seattle, is not healthy enough to play at the moment.
Oh, I see.
He's on the injured reserve list.
He's on the injured reserve. He's trying to get it worked out. So we're trying to get him back so that I can move back to guitar. We could do 3 guitars.
Got you.
And a
We're going to be the heavy metal Eagles.
Nice.
Well, it's Iron Maiden. You know, there are 3 guitars. And
Going to play the Hostel California.
so, but that's kind of my journey so far as a musician, not just a guitar player. And I feel like, you know, my brother and I at one point we had a record label. Also, we did a lot of the Northwest stoner doom kind of stuff, which is where we met like Tony and from Moss Generator and many other bands. I mean, this dude's prolific. And so many other great people from the Northwest music scene. There are so many killer bands of all different genres in the Northwest.
Definitely.
It's ridiculous.
Definitely.
So get out and go see some shows.
Yeah.
But, you know, that without music, this last couple of years has been really difficult for me. No socialization, no music, and getting back into it. I'm probably happier now than I have been in years.
Nice.
Because we're getting back together. I'm learning a new instrument.
Nice.
You know, I'm learning these old pieces that we wrote a decade ago, almost.
Yeah.
On a new instrument, and it's just a lot of fun.
That's awesome. So, would you say that you're vocalist are you the vocalist of that band?
I'm the lead vocalist.
Okay. Yeah. That's awesome. I love and revere vocalists because for me as a musician, like being a guitar player first and then singing, it's hard, you know. It's hard to like to not hide behind your guitar when you're singing, you know.
Well, and
just to be a vocalist.
I don't want to put away. That's one of the reasons why I was like, yeah, I'll pick up the bass.
Got you.
You know, I'm not gonna stand there and be naked.
Got you.
Just sing.
Yeah.
I do that at karaoke. Like,
Yeah.
There's a safety bubble there.
Totally.
But yeah, I'm not a front man.
Really?
I may be the lead vocalist. I'm not a front man. I'm not gonna. I'm not Bruce Dickinson. I'm not. You know, Brett Michaels or whatever. I'm not gonna be able to stand there with the mic and look cool.
Got you.
No, I'm gonna play something. I'm gonna be a musician. Not just a vocalist.
Got
not
you.
just a throat, as we used to call ourselves, or people used to call us in college. I have to do that for myself.
Got you. I feel that. It's hard to just be vocals. That's for sure.
I would think so. I think so. I mean, when you get made fun of for the only thing you're carrying in is your microphone.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Meanwhile, the drummers just like
drums got his drums. I got my amp. You know, whatever. But yeah. So.
Dang.
So I want to talk a quick second. I know we got to wrap this up here pretty soon, but
sure.
We spoke a little bit before the interview about the importance of moving forward and doing what you're really passionate about, regardless of what that is. And then we talked a little bit, or we alluded to imposter syndrome, which is, I think, something that everyone struggles with. Some people talk about it. Some people don't talk about it. Some people find their way through it.
Right.
And what I've been realizing is that the whole idea of not feeling like you're an imposter is it's just your own barrier, you know. And I think there's different contributing factors to that, like showing up and seeing all these people down in LA and forgetting that these people put their pants on one leg at a time. These people use the bathroom. These people eat. These people have to worry about their diets. Like, these are people.
Yeah.
And they're people that we have elevated to the level of being like, oh my God, look how amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when we interviewed Steve Lynch 2 weeks ago, and I reached out to a buddy of mine who interviews people, like, he gets paid to interview people, and for Premier Guitar, and he said, just remember, he's a guy who likes playing guitar.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like
the human
if
aspect.
you belong,
yeah.
If you feel like you belong somewhere, you belong there. And how have you found your way through the imposter syndrome? Like, what are your takes on this? And for anyone watching who's just like, man, I want to do something, but I really don't feel like I'm a player. Like, that's next level. I'm not in that league yet. Why should I? How dare I? Like, what are your thoughts on taking the opportunity and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, like how to work through imposter syndrome.
Yeah, just work through it, or like, is it real or is it honestly a state of mind? Like, what? Just your thoughts on it.
It's definitely like for me, I would say it comes from a place of like internal self-doubt, right? So it's something that like it's almost like my mind playing tricks on me of like all this negative self-talk of like you're not good enough because you're comparing yourself to other people all the time, and you're like, this other person does this better than I do, and like it's kind of like it's almost like you're just being too hard on yourself, and at a certain point it's just it can break you down to the point where you're just paralyzed, like analysis paralysis. So to work through that, I mean, I think realizing the human aspect that you just mentioned of like everybody has to put their pants on one leg at a time, you know, that's a very good thing to think about. And I think back to like my experience on the show, you know, because at a certain point I think I realized, at least in that the circumstances, if I didn't step up to the plate, that it would be an empty plate. Like nobody would be there, you know.
Right.
So it's like it's either I do it or nobody does it. So I just decided like it's going to be another experience.
Yeah.
And then you learn from experience and you just move forward.
For me, yeah, it's like, do I want to miss out on this experience?
Right.
It could be something totally scary, but it could be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing too, more recently that I learned about is the idea of tension in life, and how like in order to grow you need tension. Like you think about working out, right? You need to work out your muscles, and you need to provide that tension of the weights on your muscles, and then once that tension is there, then you can actually start building muscles. If you think about like when you're planting a seed into the dirt, you need to cover the seed with dirt and have this tension of the dirt for the seed to then fight through the dirt and grow out of this. And so I think about that in experiences in life that feel uncomfortable, where there's some kind of tension there where you almost have to lean into it in order to go past it and to grow from it. And then you look back at that situation like, oh yeah, like I did that, so now I can do that again and it's easier. Or I can do something similar and it's easier. So
no, I think that's an amazing point, and like completely universal. Like, not to say that there aren't things that just certain things come your way and just happen, and that's great, and you can enjoy that. But the things that actually come with a sense of satisfaction, I built that, came from a place of pain, and not doesn't mean like torment, but the tension. You
can't. There's the idea that you can't learn something without failure, right? Because to fail is the first attempt in learning. I know that's
I tried to straight face it, but
no.
You're there.
You're there. But it is. It may be this weird idiom, but it actually makes a lot of sense. Like sometimes the best lessons and the strongest lessons you learn are from the struggle and not succeeding and not getting where you want to get. And you learn. You can learn from that.
Definitely. Definitely.
That's the tearing down of the muscles and building it back up.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
How do you feel about playing us out?
Sunsets and Sea Turtles. I can do that one.
You like it?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Thank you so much for being on our show.
Of course.
Do you ever come back sometime?
Sure, yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Where can we see you before you play now? Where can we see you play not here?
Like,
when's your next
okay. So I'm actually speaking of rhythms.
Yeah.
I'll be doing an opening set for Winehouse as a local oldie band.
Cool.
April 29th, Saturday. That's 7
We'll be
p.m.
downtown too. We'll be playing at McCoy's April 29th.
Oh, no way.
We'll try to stop and see you before we go on. So
what time are you guys
I
playing?
may not be able to because I'm going to be there. I'm going to have to be there for the whole damn show.
Oh, okay.
I'm like in every band. a little bit.
Dang.
Oh,
I
yeah,
guess
yeah.
not in Hellbelly, but that's my
We're at
favorite
what?
part
It's
of those.
9:30. We're at McCoy's.
It's at 9.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Oh no, like later in the night then. Okay.
I guess in general, come see Sabyu April 29th, downtown Olympia. Just come to Arts Walk, because that's what's going on that weekend, and there's going to be tons
really?
of great musicians, including him.
Speaking of Arts Walk, actually, that was my first ever performance.
Nice.
Was it on 4/4?
That'd be crazy. I gotta flip the pages back and see.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Of
being
course.
here.
Yeah. Thanks for having
Yes,
me.
sir.
Absolutely.
We'll let you play out.
All right. See if I remember this song.
I just make it up.
It's this. What's the word? I guess it's just coming full circle. Playing this song on a year ago. So this is called Sunsets and Sea Turtles. And this is a song I performed for American Song Contest 1 year to this date. Shout outs to all of my 103 episode bandmates that shared the stage. It's a blast. And all the friends and fam back home. Here we go. Nanny, what you doing here by the east side? I said, Nanny, we could take a walk by the seaside where the water gets knee high. No, I don't know what to do besides sing a little song about this and that to you. But I know one thing is true. Sunsets and sea turtles came here together for you. Came here together for you. Sunsets and sea turtles came here together for you. Came here together for you. Well, guess what now? I said the moon is out tonight, so full and it's so bright. It's like a push and pull, ebb and flow. It's the yin and yang coming centerfold now. Ooh, the tides, they know it, or the sand is glowing. No, I don't know what to do besides sing a little song about this and that to you. But I know one thing is true. Sunsets and sea turtles came here together for you. Came here together for you. Sunsets and sea turtles came here together for you. Came here together for you. I said, Nanny, what you doing here by the east side? I said, Nanny, we could take a walk by the seaside where the water gets knee high. All right, that's it.